everybody, and welcome back to this long overdue Mayday Ultra Hardcore Completionist with the Pistols Only Relic. So I actually have a confession to make. This is a live commentary from after I successfully beat the game. You see, I told my PS4 to record the last 60 minutes of gameplay, the furthest it can go, and it decided to only get the last 54 minutes and 48 seconds, so I lost this first bit of the game. I'm going to recreate that here for you now, so that we can have a little bit of continuity. So, the first thing you do is you put 1 point in the pistol. It gives me an arc, which is a 25% damage boost and a 10% movement speed boost. It's very noticeable. Then, we're just going to trash on this dude. And plant the drill here. Oh, and if you're wondering why it's pink, it's because I have the colorblind filter on, just for shits. This is what it looks like normally. This is what it looks like with colorblind. I'm not that type of colorblind, I'm just doing that for fun. Okay, so this challenge, all we do is we just shoot him once, knife. That's the general idea. There's a glitch that I pull off very, very well in the run, and I want to kind of explain it to you here. So this room up here is actually a side area. You're supposed to have to take the drill, back up here, and then plant it at this door. It takes like 30 seconds to break it, and you have to fight off like some hunters and stuff. But there's a little glitch that we can do to skip that. It's been around since this map came out. So what you do is you kind of run into this corner, you sprint jump at the Hive, and eventually it'll teleport you up into the room as you clip through the ceiling. And so you can use this, and you can search boxes, these red ones here, to get your schematic tools, which I use for the pipe bomb up here. These are the best grenades available in this map. And so yeah, I grab them and I use them to great effect later. Okay, so I'm going to cut over to the actual run with post-commentary now. See y'all on the other side.
Skip it up and down.
Alright, now that that's over with, we are back on the real run. This is going to carry out all the way to the end of the map, and this commentary is no longer live, it's in post. I'm not playing the game right now, I'm just reacting to it for you. So here comes that glitch I talked about. We're going to get it first try like a baller. Oh yeah. There's two types of search boxes. The green ones, those little small like squarer ones, they have better odds in these rooms, these side areas, than they do normally. So you make sure you search all of those every time you're in a side area. And then we use those big long red toolboxes to build our schematics. You can see in the bottom left of my screen there's that triangle with the pipe in the middle. That's the pipe bomb schematic. I just searched the third part for it, now it's like glowing and pulsating. So what that means is that whenever I press select and then square, like that, they transfer from the schematic thing into my inventory. We're going to use that little trick to essentially allow me to carry twice as many sticky flares as normal later in the run. So let's talk about the run. What exactly am I doing here? As a reminder, Ultra Hardcore is a kind of pseudo difficulty setting that you can get by playing a hardcore custom match by yourself. And so this means you have the standard hardcore characteristics, right? You get bigger enemies earlier on, you progress your skill tree half as fast so you're weaker for longer, and the enemy AI is more aggressive. They just attack you more. Those are the standard hardcore characteristics, and then on top of that, you have some co-op characteristics happening as well. The main one that you're going to notice is you don't have any self-revives. If you look down in the bottom left, there's no downs there. If I go down once, that's it. Game over, and I'd have to start over. Also, the enemies are toned up in difficulty even more, right? We get a lot more big dudes, and we just get more in general because it's tuning them for co-op. They also damage the drill a lot faster, which is going to come into effect really significantly on one Hive in the second area, and then also at a little, like, boss-esque sequence right at the very end of the game. I'm using the Pistols Only Relic to spice things up a little bit, because if I didn't have it, this wouldn't be that hard. And so what that means is that this MP443, it's a machine pistol, it's the last pistol you unlock, and it's also the best pistol by far, like, for damn near everything. This gun is the only gun I can have. I can still bust out a Riot Shield, and I can use that on my back, but I can't pick up a primary weapon. I can't pick up like an ARX or a Bulldog or anything, and I also can't get a Venom X, which is going to be very significant because the Venom X is what you use to clear out these large groups of enemies that you get hit with sometimes in Ultra Hardcore. Yee. This run went through a few phases for me to get it to where it was. I initially started it as an Earn Your Keep Relic run, but that proved to be pretty much impossible, so we're here with the pistols only. So, this map, Mayday, is the third map in the Extinction series. As you can see, we're on a ship. We're, as always, trying to clear out all these hives, and oh my god, okay. Just literally couldn't hear myself talk for a sec there. As always, we need to clear out all the hives, and then get up to the top and get this person's Samantha Cross, which was the girl who got capped by Archer in the previous map in the cutscene that we didn't watch. And here I am speeding this part up a lot. I'm waiting for my abilities to recharge. You can see them on the bottom right in the D-pad, those two bars that are going up. They take a minute and a half to recharge, so this is 4 times speed. And I'm waiting for those to get back up because I realized I would not have survived that door if I didn't have those abilities. So this hive is unique because we have this tentacle. Busts on in, does his thing, kind of spits enemies out at you. And the challenge is always defeat this guy before the hive's destroyed. I have a little theory that this tentacle has a health bar, but it also has a timer. And if you like delete the health bar before the timer runs out, he just stays until the timer runs out. That's a little conspiracy theory I have. I haven't tested it fully. I was kind of seeing if it would work right now by just not shooting him, seeing if I like killed him, but I didn't quite get him all the way, and so I finished him off with this next burst of the pistol right here. Or maybe this burst of the pistol. Okay. And that tentacle is of course part of the Kraken, as you can imagine, who shows up later in the map, or at the very end of the map. Okay, yeah, sorry. So back to what I was saying on the map before I interrupted myself. This map has a new unique enemy that's only on this map. It's called the Cedar. It replaces the Scorpion. It's basically a Seeker, which is those little red dudes who run at you and blow up. It's a Seeker, but yellow, with about the health of a Hunter, and it can shoot gas at you like a Scorpion, but it can also shoot 3 Cedar turrets, which are essentially AI-controlled, like, fleshy sentry guns that will attack you. And their hitbox is really weird, and they're going to be a big problem later on. See, I know with my pistol right now, I don't have enough firepower to take that Phantom that's jumping around head on, so right now I'm just trying to mess with this pathfinding AI to keep him from jumping to me, which is why he's like going all over the place. I know if he charges me, I'd probably die, because I talked about this in the Nightfall run, but hardcore makes the enemy's AI more aggressive, and normally, you know, that's just like a nuisance, but with the Phantom, it's a big problem, because his whole thing is that he likes to hit you twice and then run away, and those 2 hits take you down to about 1/3 of your health. The problem is, with hardcore AI, sometimes he will just come up to you, hit you twice, and then hit you twice again, and just instantly kill you, so I have to be careful of the Phantoms for quite a while until I get myself a little beefier, get some armor, get that final weapon specialist upgrade. And now, we get to see our first door. These doors usually lead to side areas, but this one's required for progression. It only takes about 30 seconds to destroy, but you always get like some tricky enemies. Right now we have a Rhino, and I was saving my weapon specialist ability up so I could infinite ammo him down real quick. Here's a Cedar. He says yellow. He blows up when you kill him. The Cedars are really neat because if you kill them with a critical hit, they give you 1,875 points, which is a shit ton, right? Like that's almost enough to buy me a new round of Cryptid Slayer, so a lot of times I'll try to hit that critical on a seeder to get that bonus money. So right now I'm just trying to build my sticky flares. As you can see, I grabbed the sticky flare schematic and I just crafted it, and I put that flare that I had in my inventory before on the ground. Right, by crafting the sticky flares in my inventory, I put whatever is currently sitting like in my tactical slot on the ground and replace them with sticky flares. That's really important here, but it's even more important in the next map I'm going to do called Exodus. And so yeah, I have those 2 sticky flares like on my tactical slot ready to go, and now I have 2 more in the schematic. And so I have effectively 4 sticky flares ready to go right now, and that's going to prove literally instrumental to my survival later on. Also, I turned off the colorblind filter right there. That challenge can be hard if you're actually like playing with multiple people, because instead of 3 aliens, it'll be like 10. And you know, one person gets hit and you fail it, so you know, it's easy in solo though. Also, one thing that I need to mention about the about what I did with the sticky flares and putting that flare on the ground for me to pick it up later. It only works if the item you have in your tactical slot is different than the schematic, right? So like, if I tried to craft my sticky flare schematic right now, it would just say no, and it wouldn't do anything because my inventory is already full of sticky flares. Also, if I only had 1 sticky flare in my inventory instead of the 2 that I can hold, and I crafted it, it would be a massive waste because I would only get 1 sticky flare from it. It would just fill it back up to 2, and it would just delete the last sticky flare. So it's a bit finicky. Ultimately, that doesn't play a huge role in this map. It plays a huge role in the next map, though. So, this map, Mayday, it functions a little differently than the other maps, Nightfall, Awakening, and Point of Contact, in terms of how linear it is. It's the most linear of all the maps in Extinction, because, you know, in Nightfall, Awakening, and Point of Contact, you get to a new area, and then you can do the hives in pretty much whatever order you want, with like 1 or 2 exceptions. In this one, there's a ton of hives that are like sequential in order. You have to do them a certain way. This is an example of that. I took out this hive, and it unlocks a little like drone that I have to put my drill on. And you see right there, I put the drone on this drill. And then that drone is going to drive it out into an area that I cannot reach to destroy a hive. This hive is another unique one on Exodus. Sorry, not Exodus. I'm getting confused because I just did the Exodus run on Mayday. So, you can see the drill getting driven around down there. And then whatever happens to this drill, we can't repair it. So it would really suck if we got that challenge, wouldn't it? So, you can see that this is going to be very rough. That hunter already took it down to 8 health, right? In like 1 or 2 seconds, it's down that much. So we have to get a little freaky with it in order to complete this challenge. I'm essentially just trying to be always on that turret, because my MP443 here does not have enough range to really take hunters off that drill. And again, normally, if the drill goes under 75 health, we can just repair it. But we can't, because it's all the way out there, and we can't touch it, so. I just keep this IMS up. It's kind of burning me with the fire, but, you know, it's worth it for keeping hunters off my back. In a previous run of this, the drill got all the way down to 0 health, but I still survived it somehow. I'm guessing it's because the game, I thought I should have lost the game there, but it kept going. I'm guessing it has something to do with it only fails the game once the health drops below 0, not to 0. So I was kind of figuring the upgrade strategy out as I went through this. Basically, the idea is I wanted to get extended mags on the pistol really early because it does make a huge difference, which is upgrade 2. And then after that, I know I need at least some armor and some ammo. And then, you know, you also need to get your specialist leveled up, and so I just kind of went in whatever order it felt like I needed at the time. There was no grand plan from the beginning. And so there you see the first sticky flare I threw. That's going to act like kind of a monkey bomb, and it's going to attract all of the enemies in the area to it. I still have to be careful though, because it's not exactly like a monkey bomb. Those tend to be like universal things. You throw a monkey bomb and then every zombie on the map would come to it. In Extinction, it's only things in close proximity to it that go to the flare, so I still have to keep an eye on the drill. And now there's a phantom on me. So I threw another flare. Yep, those phantoms, man, they have so much health. This is a good demonstration of that little flare trick that I was talking about with the schematics, how I now have 4. I essentially have 4 flares instead of 2 in my inventory, because I'm able to, at any point I want, press select, square, and restock my inventory with that like triangular schematic there. Yo, yeet. Okay, so that hive is always one of the sketchier ones on Mayday. At this point, I'm going to get another set of sticky flares because they are very useful. So yeah, right there I just crafted them, and now they went from the triangular schematic in the bottom left to over in my tactical slot in the bottom right. I'm going to open up this door here, which gives me access to the venom, or to the sticky flares and the venom schematic. Of course, I can't use the venom schematic because of pistols only, but it's there. I love Weapon Specialist, that's why. There you can see the cedar turret's having like a really weird hitbox. It's like only the top part of the turret actually counts. Anything else, it just phases right through. So yeah, I'm just going through here, searching up the red boxes to get a new set of sticky flares so I can do what I did on that previous hive again, if need be, and need will be. Normally you'd get the venom schematic here from that same table down there, but again, pistol's only relic. Sucks. And then I totally just blank out and do this door for literally no reason. I did not need to do this one at all. So, yeah. It just spawned all its stuff at the beginning, and then it just kind of gave up. Sometimes this, I think that playing ultra hardcore difficulty, sometimes it confuses like the spawning code. It doesn't know what to do when there's only one person in a co-op. So you get situations like that where it spawns a bunch of stuff right at the beginning, and then there's just nothing else. That happens a lot in Exodus as well. I don't know if you saw it, but the prompt to pick up a flare was on the ground, and again, that was the flare I dropped earlier in the game and just set it on the ground there. So while we're sitting here, I guess let's just talk about the loadout at large, cover it. So it's my standard loadout, what I think is objectively the best one in the game. We're rolling literally every armory upgrade, and the classes are Weapon Specialist and Medic. Pick Weapon Specialist as my primary because the bonuses to weapon handling and then that 50% damage boost are unmatched in terms of their usefulness, right? Like the 50% damage boost is literally like having 1.5 arcs on top of your arced out gun. So, you know, that's very useful. And then medic, because it's just the next best thing. The the movement speed bonus and the health bonus and the scorpion gas immunity, all great. And again, the class abilities for these two, they complement each other very well. As you saw me right there use the specialist ability to kill that rhino real fast. And then, so like you have your offensive ability with the specialist, and you have your defense ability with medic, which lets you get out of tight situations by just healing. Ooh, I'm getting low on health. Level 2 armor is very good, surprisingly. It does... Your armor bar, if you look down in the bottom left of the screen, the health bar is green and the armor bar is blue. The armor bar is a little longer than the health bar. And so level 2 armor gives you 75 armor, like, points, right? So, that's cool. It's almost your entire health bar's worth of armor, and you can get it very inexpensively. So it's a very nice investment to have in essentially any run. The Cryptid Slayer ammo, best ammo, obviously. It just takes a long time to grind. It's all of the specialized ammos plus the upgrade technique of the normal ammo, which means you get a lot for very few points. So we've got 2 rhinos right now, and this part's gonna get a little freaky. Again, I'm trying to like mess with their pathfinding AI like I did with the Phantom. Trying to get them like stuck on things. Oh, and then right here, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? They just stopped moving. That's a trick that is very, very important as well. If you put a sticky flare on an enemy, the enemy stops moving. So, flares don't normally attract rhinos, but if you stick a sticky flare to a rhino, he stops moving. In effect, you've flared a rhino. And so I use that a lot. And I used it there. I got one rhino stuck and then with the flare, and then the other one just didn't move because he was kind of like stuck behind him. And then back to my loadout. I keep getting distracted by talking about the gameplay. The Riot Shield just protects my back like a Riot Shield does. You can kind of actively use it by turning your back on enemies that are attacking you, which is pretty neat. You can, you know, use something that's put away. And then the IMS, because it's the best strike package at level 0, and it's unique in that it requires absolutely no attention on your part, right? You can just set it down on the drill, and it does its job. Nothing else does that in the strike packages, right? The sentry guns, you have to babysit them. You have to sit there and make sure they don't get eaten by a hunter. If you max them out and you babysit them, then they can be really good. But that's a lot of attention, and that's, you know, too much attention, or more than I can afford to give them. And then something like the Vulture, that's just a personal protective device. Essentially is just like a complement to any damage that you yourself are doing. And I generally don't have too much problems in the DPS department, so I don't bother with investing 7 points and, you know, an entire half of the game into getting a Vulture up to working order. And so yeah, that's the loadout. And again, the upgrade strategy was pretty much just whatever I felt I needed at the time. There wasn't any grand plan like there was in the Nightfall run. So yeah, Mayday is a very unique map in its extreme linearity. One aspect of that you're about to see right now. Once we go to the 3rd area, we can't come back to the first 2. And so that, you know, that wouldn't be a problem normally, but the only sticky flare schematic locations are in the first 2 areas. So, you know, we're gonna make 4 sticky flares. And then at that point, that's all the sticky flares we have for the rest of the game, which really sucks because there's a lot of places where you want flares in the last area, and we only have 4 of them. I also kind of messed up a little bit. I should have gotten pipe bombs first and then did the sticky flares, because now I'm stuck with these sticky flares in my inventory, and I only have 1 pipe bomb instead of the 5 I could have potentially had if I did the pipe bomb first and then picked up the sticky flare. But either way, here we are, first Hive in the 3rd area. Another aspect of Mayday's uniqueness, for some reason, when you're in this 3rd area, you earn half money for everything. See, that hunter gave me 100 instead of 200, and the scout gave me 30 instead of 60. Literally, all the money you get is straight up just cut in half. Taxation is theft, gang. Yeah, and so, obviously, that is tricky. Especially in a run like this where we need to be buying so much ammo and armor. We're gonna be really struggling at some points to, you know, get the funds that we need for everything. I haven't really said anything about any challenges recently, but I mean, there hasn't been anything remarkable. Like, spend 6,000, easy peasy, trap kills. I'm kind of lucky I got the trap kills on this one, to be honest, because there's no other good traps in this area. Look at that cedar hanging upside down. They love to sit on that little wire up there. I think a rhino spawns in. Yeah, right there. The screen shake, got the sound. And so I'm looking down here, I'm trying to find him, and of course, he shows up after I look away, which is awesome. He just hops right up where I was. Ooh, okay. So, you see how the rhino kind of went to where I was standing like 5 seconds prior, and then he came to me? That's a very interesting quirk of Rhino AI that I've discovered. Whenever they spawn in, the game tells them to run to where you are when they spawned in, or where you were when they spawned in. So you can kind of use that to your advantage, right? If a rhino spawns in, and then you run away from that spot, you know that the rhino is going to run to that spot before he actually comes and attacks you. So, I didn't really make anything of it in that instance, but you can use that to give yourself like 5-10 extra seconds of free damage on the rhino. Oh, the cedar turret, yeah. Whenever a cedar shoots at where those traps are, like these little grates, whenever a cedar tries to put a turret on that, it clips through the floor and puts it underneath in these little tunnels. So, I mean, that's actually beneficial to us because it just means that we have to deal with less turrets. Or less turrets that can actually attack us in the moment. And yet another aspect of Mayday's linearity, the 3rd area is divided into front and back halves. So this is the 2nd hive of the first part of the 3rd area. After we do this one, that door is going to open and we're going to get inside the little complex building, or like the research complex area for the 2nd part of the 3rd area. Just another weird quirk. And again, there's no sticky flare schematics available to me anymore because I can't go back down to the 2nd area because we got airlifted out. If I jump back down there, I just get teleported right back up here. So I'm stuck with these 4 sticky flares. And again, that challenge isn't a problem at all. Just keep an eye out for him. Act quick when you see him. These dudes are just tanking my pistol. Mayday has some of the hardest challenges that you get, but you don't get them every time, right? It's just like, for some reason, the challenges in the 2nd half of the 3rd area, so the part coming up after this hive, sometimes they will just be nuts. Like, for the last 3 hives, you'll get, don't spend money for 2 minutes, don't use abilities for 90 seconds, and don't reload for 60 seconds, like on the last 3 hives when the game's going hard. And so, I lucked out. I didn't get those, or at least I didn't get don't reload. I think I might have gotten don't spend money on the first one. We'll see in a sec though. again, I kind of missed it because I was talking about the challenges, but weapon specialist ability dropped the Rhino. If I didn't have weapon specialist ability, I wouldn't have got him. So, yeah, weapon specialist gang, first class, best class. Oh, at least I found a flare there. So, I mean, if I end up using all of these flares, I do have an extra one on stock. And I tried to get the critical hit, but I missed it there, so only got 625 instead of the 970 something that I would have gotten if I had got the critical hit. So here's the first hive in the second part of the third area. And there it is. Okay, this challenge is a doozy, because this hive is 2 minutes long, so we just have to not spend any money for 2 minutes. Of course, as you saw, the challenges have a 5-second countdown at the beginning in which the challenge is not active. So, whatever you do during those 5 seconds does not count toward or against the challenge, and so you need to do whatever it is that you need to do to get ready for the challenge in that amount of time, which is why I bought ammo as soon as I saw this challenge come up. I'm saving my weapon specialist ability for the Rhino that I know is going to spawn it halfway through this hive, which is why these phantoms are giving me a little run for my money. Kind of slowed down there for a sec, but here comes the Rhino, I believe. There he is. Maybe killing that seeker or that cedar was like a trigger for the Rhino spawning or something. I've got some theories about why the enemy spawning is kind of inconsistent when you play in ultra hardcore. I think my my current guess as to why, you know, it oscillates between sometimes it's really crazy, and then sometimes just nothing happens, other than maybe they're just trying to, like, give you breathers. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe it's something to do with, I'm playing on co-op, but I'm by myself, so it's giving me, like, the co-op big dudes, so, like, I'm getting a ton of phantoms, I'm getting a ton of rhinos, and, like, cedars and stuff, but I'm not getting, like, the full maxed out amount of little guys. That's my current idea, maybe, as to why sometimes it, like, peaks and then other times it seems chill. It could just, again, it could just be intentional. Like, they're just trying to alternate between pushing you and giving you a breather. I shoot at all those windows just for ease of travel. And then this flare is important. Because of the arcing stun ammo, if I don't throw that flare, I'm probably going to end up killing an enemy that's not marked with like the arcing fire shots and stuff. So, you know, it sucks that I have to use that flare. It's gonna bite me in the ass in the boss fight at the end of the game, but it's necessary for the completionist, and you just gotta do what you have to do to get all the challenges done. This area is like, you can tell that they designed the Seekers and this area together, because look at that, he's hiding behind the railing and he can just shoot turrets. They can see the entire map. What a little scumbag. They can crawl across literally the entire ceiling and any of the walls and any of like the little scaffolding up at top. There's just so many places that the Seekers can hide from you and shoot you with impunity. And you can see weapon specialist upgrade again, just being an absolute alpha chad. Manages to clean up both the Rhino and the Phantom for me. Normally these upgrades are on a 3-minute cooldown, but I have I have a one of the Armory Upgrades, like one of the long-term progression upgrades between games called, or actually I don't even remember what it's called exactly, but it cuts that cooldown time in half from 3 minutes to 1.5 minutes. So, you know, that is allowing me to pop these weapon specialists off every Hive really easily. I still haven't had to use a medic upgrade yet, so that's cool. Or wait, no, I used one right at the very beginning of the game against that Phantom. But since then, the armor has been doing the work for me, and it hasn't been getting too horribly sketchy with my health. So we're coming up on the last Hive, and I'm just praying that I don't reload for 60 seconds as the challenge. And do I get it? Nope. Okay, we're good. So now all I have to do is just kill 15 of them while I'm laying down on the ground. I always try to do challenges as early as possible because it generally seems like the highs get harder as they go on, or at least they usually start with something easier, or with like easier enemies. So you want to do them with, you know, as little challenge as possible. And then there you could see like the wacky ass hitbox of the cedar turret, as most of my shots like missed, and I was only getting with the explosion. This is scary. I'm all out of armor right now, and there's a Phantom alive, and I don't have much ammo, but had enough money to just throw everything out. A lot of enemies right there. The Phantom hit me right there, but I have an upgrade called Stun Armor, which makes it so that sometimes when an enemy like smacks me in the back, they fall over like they got hit with stun ammo, and so that's why he was only able to hit me once. Oh yes sir, yes sir. Once again, Weapon Specialist upgrade killed the Rhino and the Phantom. You can see that the Cedar up there just having an absolute field day, right? He just shot a ton of gas, all 3 of his turrets. He's a happy boy. Bullet penetration is weird when you have explosive ammo, and so it makes it really hard to shoot the Cedars from underneath the grates. So, you know, just makes this area even trickier. And I see that Cedar up on the wall, but I have to run because I'm getting chased by a Phantom. I had to throw ammo instead of armor, even though I'm out of armor, because I only had like 2 mags left. There's 2 Cedars. Look at that. None of that first mag hit. Okay. That is all the Hives. We're in the end game now. There's 2 sequences we have to do. The first is the chlorine gas, and the second is the Kraken. Here goes the gas. I'm going to play this differently than I normally do, and it's really scary. So, normally I would be standing in that elevated platform in the middle of the map, right there. It's kind of below the scaffolding, but above the ground. Normally I'd sit on that and guard all 4 of these little chlorine gas valves. I don't have enough gun to do that right now. This thing does not have any range, and so I'm going to need to let the enemies destroy the other 3 valves and just protect this one exclusively. And it gets a little dicey. As you can hear, there's a massive wave of enemies building right now. And they're all pretty much just going to rush me at the same time, so I have to be ready for it. And there it is. The thing I really have to watch out for is Phantoms. You see me popping my Weapon Specialist upgrade to deal with them right there. The Phantoms can take out... There's another one. They can take out these gas valves in just a few hits, because their melee attack does so much damage. So I have to be hyper vigilant of them. Luckily, once it gets down to only 1 valve left, it kind of chills out on the enemy spawn rate. And so, like what you're seeing right now, kind of wears down by the end of this sequence. And also, just to make it clear, if this valve here gets destroyed like those other ones did, how they just got absolutely wiped out, if this one dies, that's the end of the game. Even though we're like right at the end, boom, done instantly. So, you know, it's scary, especially as all of these seekers just jump directly to it from like off the side of the balcony. It's rough. Also, if I run into that gas, like if I try to go anywhere other than this little lane that I'm on, I will die very quickly from the gas, obviously. And again, this would, if back in the second area before I left, I had gotten pipe bombs before I got the sticky flares, that would have helped me out a lot, because I could use those pipe bombs to like kind of crowd control, clear out all of those enemies that were rushing this at the start. But I made it through, and it's chilled out now because of, you know, all the other three are gone. So yeah, and you can see the 50% money really kicking into effect here. I don't have enough money to buy Cryptid Slayer ammo, and so I'm just using the regular ammo that I had stocked up from just search boxes. And I'm just trying to save up $2 grand so I can throw out another hit of that good shit. Only one hunter away from it. Wow, yeah, it chilled way the hell out. And I got it at that point, so I'm lucky that the Seekers don't do that much damage to the valves, because that would be rough. They seem to just jump and land right on top of it and just immediately blow up before you can even react. So we are done with this part almost, and then after this is the boss fight versus the Kraken. It's kind of an boss fight. You'll see why. Ideally, I'd have 4 flares going into this because it's kind of a 4-phase fight, but again, what can you do? You gotta get the challenges done. I don't believe that keeping all of the valves alive speeds it up either, so, I mean, if you can just beat it with 1, you just lose score, and it still works. So, for this fight, I'm not gonna lie, I did it pretty sub-optimally. I wanted to try something new, and it did not work out. Normally what you do is you stand on the opposite side of the deck from him. This is the Kraken, by the way. RAR X3. Normally you stand on the opposite side of the deck in the corners, so like where that little yellow pole is, like the one I'm standing by right now, but on the other side. You stand there, and you wait for him to enter his aggro phase, or like his, that tentacle just snapped. You wait for him to enter like the phase where he heats the deck up, and then you just throw a flare and light him up with a turret. I wanted to see what would happen if I just stood right next to him and shot him with the MP443, which is why I'm sitting here right now. Right before he shifted into his vulnerable phase, I realized, like, wait, I'm still earning half money. I need to focus on, you know, not wasting all of my ammo on the Kraken. And so I end up doing it the traditional way for this first phase. But I try my new method on the second phase, and it doesn't work out at all. And so you can see we're still earning half money right now, but that's actually going to go away when we get on to the second phase. We're going to go back to earning full money. So yeah, I just run over here to the turret, throw a flare, hop on the turret, start lighting him up. You want to shoot at anything that's glowing on him. It does a lot of damage, so I'm shooting at his eye. If you can hit him in the mouth, that's better because it's a bigger spot. Interestingly enough, just like the tentacle from earlier in the game, this fight has a minimum time. If you were to hop on those turrets and take all of the health off before he even got into his like hot phase where he glows red and lights up the deck like we saw there, it would still take like a minimum amount of time before he leaves. See, this fight has 4 phases. You can only do a certain amount of his health, or like you can only take a certain amount of his health off per phase. The first phase it's 20%, the second and third phases it's 25%, and then the fourth phase it's 30%. For some reason they didn't just do quarters, they went, you know, fifth, quarter, 30%. But, you know, and if you do that damage, that fifth of his health, or that quarter of his health, or that 30% of his health, he won't actually go away and shift to the next side until he's put his tentacles on the deck and started heating it up. I think I hit that at one point during this fight. If not, oh well, I'll upload a video of like the fastest possible Kraken fight at some point. It's 8 minutes and 55 seconds, by the way. It's the fastest you can do this. I remember at one point I heard a guy say that he beat it in 3 phases, which literally doesn't even make any sense. But, you know, people be crazy. Also, reasons we're standing in the corner, because I didn't exactly say. If you stand in the middle, he can, or really anywhere but this corner, he can slap you with his tentacles, which do as much damage as a meteorite falling on you, so that's unfavorable. Here's me trying to damage him with my pistol to absolutely no avail. Look at that health bar, it's not even fucking moving. Yeah, if you stand anywhere but the corner, he can slap you with his pistol, and then also you have to be standing on a hive in order to not get burned by this deck. See how the entire thing is on fire right now? If I stand anywhere but either one of the corners or the very middle of the fight, I will burn to death very quickly. And if you stand in the middle, he can slap you with his tentacle, which again does as much damage as a meteor falling on you, so we like to keep it in this corner. Man, look at how slow that is. This strategy might actually be viable if you have a weapon that's better at long range. Like if you had an ARX 160 or like a VKS or an LSAT or something that can actually like bool out at 30 yards, this might work. But since I just have the MP443, I had to waste all of my ammo on that, and so yeah. Also, you just want to make sure that you're hiding behind one of these crates whenever he does his screen. Otherwise, he'll take off about half your health and EMP you, and like break all your armor and any equipment that you had laying out on the ground, like a sentry gun. So, yup. This one's sketchy. He can't damage you with his tentacles when you're in this position, in this corner, but he can get really close, and it like gives you a it'll disorient your screen, and it'll destroy any kill streaks you had sitting on the ground. Also, here comes a rhino. Oh, and there's the tentacle. As I was fighting that rhino, I needed to make sure that I didn't go out to where that tentacle would have smacked, because that would have ended the game. If I had tried to run from that rhino instead of holding my ground, I would have died. So did that, I know that tentacle smack right there destroys, yeah, that tentacle smack destroyed my IMS. So that's what makes this this third phase of the fight particularly tricky. There was a positive to me doing that second phase in the way that I did. It saved a flare. I didn't use a flare on that one, so that I get to use a flare on this one and the next one. So I throw the flare, turn my back to the outside world, so my shield's facing him, and then take out the seer, Try to do as much damage as I can. And once I get him down to 30% health, he's gonna go away. There he is. Again, if I had done that amount of damage earlier, like if I had done it before he even went into aggro mode, I would still just have to wait until he puts his tentacles on the deck and starts lighting it up in order for him to do this animation where he goes over for the final phase. Also, you can stand on this turret. I don't know why that matters, but I'm up here. So yeah, I don't know, this boss fight's, not gonna lie, it's kinda lame. I mean, this is better in ultra hardcore because the enemies are like actually a little bit threatening now. But in regular difficulty, it's literally just scouts. And so you're just kind of sitting here shooting at the Kraken in regular difficulty until he eventually just dies. He doesn't react to you at all. This again, this is better though because we're getting hunters, we're getting phantoms, we're getting cedars. We even got a rhino, so you know it's pretty okay in ultra hardcore difficulty. I love the IMS, man. What other strike package would do that? I think this Phantom is infinitely respawning as well. It seems like every time I kill a Phantom, it just puts another one on. Here we go. This is the last bit. So he says, it's glowing. He puts his tentacles down. He goes into his like pre-aggro state. Throw the flare, turn around in the corner, use the turret. And we want to try and damage as much as we can while he's doing these animations that expose his mouth. Of course, I need to make sure that there's no cedar turrets shooting at me because they don't follow flares. And as you see, there it is. Now he's gonna do his little death animation, and then that'll be it. I'm just trying to rack up my number of shots fired. Alright. Well, there it is. Thanks for watching. Remember to turn your volume down so you don't get ear raped after you move on to the next video. Yep. That's the Mayday Ultra Hardcore Pistols Only Completionist. See y'all.